Oh, very
Hello,
nice.
everyone, and welcome. Let me get everything set up here. Disable rating room so you're all in. Hello, everyone. Welcome from wherever you're coming in from. Let us know where you are coming in from in the chat. Kind of say hi to everyone and let us know how many TNN events this is for you. Um, my name's Sam. I'm with Nomadic Matt, and I am currently in Costa Rica, Monteverde, Costa Rica. If anyone has been, about to start our TNN tour in a few days. So that's why I'm in this like really weird box. Sorry. But anyway, here we are, and I'm going to jump right into introductions. And actually, I'm going to first introduce the Nomadic Network real quick for anyone who it's their first event. So we are a community of travel lovers. We were started by Nomadic Matt in 2019, and we bring people together to just talk travel, learn travel in virtual events, in-person meetups, and now group tours. Increasingly, we're focusing more on group tours. So we're super excited about that. Um, but yeah, so let me just see where everyone is coming in from. I'm seeing everyone Milwaukee, Indiana, New Jersey, Michigan, Minneapolis. Oh, someone else is in Costa Rica. Hi. Cool, cool, cool. Awesome. Lots of people from the US right now, in the US. Kansas City. Okay, awesome. So yeah, so just some real quick housekeeping, and I'll jump right into introducing them because I know we have so much to go over. But just while you're in there, keep your video on if you would like. It's always great to see everyone else behind the screen, to kind of connect a little bit more and not just have black boxes everywhere if you want to keep your video on. But please just mute yourself, so that we don't have anything distracting our presenters. And but just type in the chat anything like commentary you want to ask, or if you have questions, I'm going to be asking Sarah and Tiffany at the end all of the questions that you're typing in the chat. So just so it's easier for me to kind of pick them out, just type like question in all caps and then write your question, and I'm going to be compiling them so they can focus on their presentation. Um, and yeah, we'll have time for questions at the end. So then if you have more as they come up, just type them in as they come in, whenever. So yeah, let me introduce them and then we'll get started. So you guys are all here to learn about Point Me. So let me introduce our lovely presenters first, then I'll tell you a little bit more about Point Me. So Tiffany Funk is co-founder and president at Point Me, the first of its kind flight booking tool that enables travelers to redeem their airline and credit card rewards for better flights for fewer points. Tiffany's also a passionate traveler. She's lived abroad a few different times and visited over 90 countries. And she's bringing her experience to us today. And Sarah Cash is also on the Point Me team. She's a nomad, currently in Namibia. It's 2 a.m. So I like full credit for her for being here.
So
Oh
much
my
credit.
gosh. Yeah. So I can't believe it. But that's awesome. So she's a nomad who loves exploring new places at a slower pace. Her favorite way to get to know a city or country is through its food. Same here, whether it's through street food vendor or a Michelin-starred restaurant. So at Point Me, she helps customers optimize their point strategy by showing them which credit cards will help them get the most points for their future trips. So let me tell you a little bit more about Point Me. So it's a search and booking engine that helps you find the best ways to use your points and miles. I'm pretty obsessed with it, I have to say. When it came out, I'm like, this is where I start like all of my flight searches, really. So you guys are lucky to have Tiffany and Sarah here telling you more about how to use it. I'm excited to learn more too. Anyway, but it searches 30 plus loyalty and 100 plus airline programs to find the best value possible. Point Me works like airline booking tools like Skyscanner, or Google Flights or whatever booking tool that you use. You put in your desired flight details and it brings up all the available award flights. So award flights are flights that you can book with points and miles and that you can book for that journey. So it has an easy to use interface. It really is really easy. And it walks you through every step of the booking process, making it great for new travel hackers because yeah, it really does like show you how to do it. So if you're new to this whole thing, um, Point Me really, really will help you out. So yeah, I know I just talked about a mile a minute, but I just wanted to get everything in real quick because I know Sarah and Tiffany have a lot to share, and I know we're going to have a ton of questions. So I think that is about it from me, and I'm going to turn it over to them.
Okay, awesome. I actually probably should have started this while you were giving us that really generous and amazing introduction. So thank you, Sam, and to everybody. Hi, we're super excited to be here. As Sam mentioned, we work at Point Me, which is this really cool tool that we're so excited to share with you because really it can help everyone find better flights for fewer points. And we think it's pretty fun. A little bit about us, in addition to what we shared. My background prior to Point Me is I've spent the last 15 years as the managing director for 1 Mile at a Time, which is the largest independent travel blog on the internet. So we've had many years, many tens of thousands of blog posts talking about how to earn points and how to use your points. And oh my gosh, what do we do with all these credit card points? And it was that experience of getting to know what banks were saying was possible, what airlines were saying was possible, and then what people, in the comment section and on social media and at events were really struggling with is what helped us to build Point Me, where it's like, there has got to be a better way to do this. There's so much that we know, and you shouldn't have to basically get a college degree in miles and points to be able to use your darn points. So that's me, and that's what we do. I'm joined by incredible Sarah Cash tonight.
Thank you, Tiffany, and thank you again, Sam. We're excited to be talking to you. So my background in points and miles kind of started out of guilt for having traveled for so long and not not even having put my frequent flyer number down when I, bought a cash ticket. Yeah, so that's how I kind of started to get into it. And I've worked in many different things that are not relevant to points and miles, but yeah, for the last year, I've been with Point Me, and I help people optimize their point strategy, which is a very fancy way of saying, you want to get the points you need to redeem on award flights. And so I help people come up with a strategy. Maybe you get this credit card or that credit card based on how much you spend and what you spend it on. Yeah, and I'm a nomad, as Sam said. So I'm currently in Swakopmund, Namibia, and I'll go ahead and share one of a recent points redemption that I got. Actually, I haven't taken the flight yet, so I'm kind of cheating with the picture because the picture is the lower right picture is in Montreal, but I got a flight from Montreal to Madrid for 27,500 flying blue miles, and that's in business class. So that's honestly that's a rate that we usually see for like an economy flight, but I got one way from Montreal to Madrid. So yeah, you can actually get sometimes to Europe for maybe fewer points than you thought. And Montreal's amazing, so is Madrid. Having been to both, I guess I should mention that too.
Yeah, and so that's part of the reason why we're so excited to be here, and I think also why we feel like we have this incredible job. We love points, and we've had so many incredible experiences and had just bonkers values that we've received from points. In the upper left, I've got pictures here. On the left is like an Instagram grid that my niece made back when people were making Instagram grids. So it's been a minute, but, and I won't tell you the price of that trip because it was a round the world business class trip for a price that doesn't exist anymore on an airline that doesn't exist anymore. Just suffice it to say, I've been doing this for a minute. And then some other cool things too, like the elephant picture is my nephew, and he was 5, and we took 7 of us to Thailand for 10 days, all using points. It was really incredible. And then doing some really fun last minute stuff too. The other picture is with my other niece, and we were able to take her to go and see One Direction, which was her favorite band as a 15-year-old, like at the O2 in London in a box suite, and it didn't cost us anything. So we've been able to do some really cool stuff. And yeah, that's going to be the crux of what we talk about today. Travel hacking can be so many things. Sarah and I were laughing about it earlier today because I feel like lately you've been seeing things like travel hacking is, how to pack in a more efficient way, or travel hacking can be, any number of things, right? Doing upgrades or earning points and all of that. So today we're just going to talk about booking your flights. And there's a couple of reasons for that. There's a lot of content out there about earning points for travel and all of the artistry that goes into that. And we found over, years and years and years of doing this, that people are generally more successful on both sides of the equation if you start by learning how to book the flights. Once you know how to book the flights, it makes your earning more efficient. And it's just all less confusing when you know what your end goal is. So that's what we're going to focus on today, is how you book your flights so that you can be more informed and empowered when you start planning your next trip and you go into all of the normal steps of determining your travel goals and researching and all of those fun things that make this also lucrative. So to kick things off, I want to start with just this key concept, because I'm sure there are people here who are brand new to using miles and points and have maybe never used a mile or a point, or don't even know why I'm saying miles and points. And I just want to make sure we have a firm baseline, because there's probably also experts and people who know more about miles and points than I do here. But one of the things that is important is to understand that all airlines, pretty much all airlines, have partners. So you don't necessarily need to have miles with the airline you want to fly. And I think this illustration, and I think I can zoom in. Yeah. Good job, presentation. Is really fun. This is SkyTeam, and I think this is from a couple of years ago, but it says SkyTeam, and all the SkyTeam Alliance is represented here, and they're represented by these lovely flight attendants in their really fun different uniforms. And I just think it's a great visual of all the different ways that you can use points. If you have Delta Sky Miles, which is this uniform over here, you can use those miles. That's not Delta, but that's fine. This one's Delta. It doesn't matter. This is the whole point, is that it doesn't matter, right? You can use miles from any of the airlines on any of these other airlines. And the reason why that matters is because the partner prices can be really, really good. Like they can be half or less of what you would pay. So if you're using Delta miles and it says Delta on the outside of the plane, or you're using Air France flying Blue Miles to fly on that exact same aircraft, you might pay half as much. I think in the case of flying Blue, sometimes you're paying like 10% as much. It's wild, wild discrepancies. So I think this is just not something you need to worry about. This is not one of those presentations where we're going to be like, now memorize all of this. Because again, fundamentally, like at Point Me, we do all of the thinking about this for you. So this is just so no one gets confused. When we're talking, don't look at this. Like I instantly, like I can't even see all of your faces, but I saw Sam's face and that was enough. This is scary and hard on purpose, because for those of you who haven't tried to use miles and points before, like this is the old school way to go about it. And I wanted to share it because if you've heard about travel hacking in the past and thought it was too complicated, or maybe you had a friend who's really into it and they started explaining it and your eyes just glazed over, or it just generally seemed like not worth the effort, like you were probably right. It is really historically excessively complicated. It's like a super opaque and complicated system. And we have this fabulous infographic here from Prince of Travel, which any Canadians, if you're not already following him, definitely do. He does such a great job of presenting information on miles and points in a really clear way. And I love this because this is like the gold standard of how you would know, okay, I have this credit card in Canada and I need to use these points to fly on this airline. And it's beautifully presented and still incredibly complicated. So I like to use it as an example of like, this is the alternative and sort of your best case scenario. And the reason why this matters is because if you want to do something like what we were just talking about, use miles from one partner to fly on another partner, because the price is going to be half, which is the case if you're flying Etihad using Advantage miles. The price is about 45% sometimes of what you would pay using Etihad miles. It's this whole process of searching on like Aeroplan and finding certain flights and calling, and it's a whole thing. And so we built Point Me to make that easier. So yeah, at Point Me, we have basically a better way to book with points. We let you search, you can compare, you can transfer. Well, you see the steps to transfer and book your flights right there in one place. We've got step-by-step video instructions. We make it really easy. So as Sam mentioned at the beginning, we aggregate results from over 30 data sources. So we can show you flights on 150 airlines. And we do that in a really straightforward way. Like I'll zoom in on this so you can just see the interface is exactly like you would use with Google Flights or Kayak or Skyscanner. You're just entering your origin, you're entering your destination, you're putting in your dates and the standard stuff, number of passengers. We do some grouping here that you might not normally see. We combine economy and premium economy. And again, like you don't really have to worry about it. It's just because so few airlines make premium economy available with points. If it's there, we'll show it to you, but it's almost like not really there. So we don't want people to have to search multiple times and get frustrated. So it's really cool. And I'm so excited to show you all the different things that we can do here. So let's see, to jump into an example, let's say you want to go to Lisbon, because everyone wants to go to Lisbon is what in my current experience. And I'll zoom in on this as well so you guys can see it. But this gives you an example where we just have these comparisons for you right away. So you'll go ahead and search, and let's say you found this flight, you're going from Atlanta to Lisbon, Air France economy class, very easy. And then we show you all the different ways to book. So our top choice, again, we've done the math on this for you for calculating the point me pick, which considers, flight times and the layover and the value of the points, and like a whole bunch of stuff that no one should really want to know. But have it right here for you. It's 9,000 points. It's easy. You can hit this purple button, and we'll talk about what the purple button does in a second. And then we show you all of the other options. So if you have, maybe a couple of Capital One points, and you also have some American Express points, you can walk through and know that, like, okay, I can actually use those points that I didn't even know I had enough of, and combine them in order to book this flight. So we try and make it really easy. And to give an example of why this matters for people who are brand new to this concept of miles and points, if you're going to book through your credit card portal or just any portal, if you're going to go and pay cash or go through Skyscanner, this flight would be $1,212. And we have that flight here. And we give you that option. If you want to book it through Skyscanner, you can do that too. If you were booking through like your Capital One Venture portal, you'd pay 121,200 points because they give you 1 cent per point. If you had a Chase Sapphire Preferred, where you're getting 1.25 cents per point, you pay 96,960. And that Chase Sapphire Reserve that gives you 1.5 cents towards travel would give you, it'd be 80,000 points. So instead, by looking at your options through Point Me and transferring your points to a loyalty program, instead of spending 96,000 points, you're going to just transfer points from Chase to Flying Blue and just spend 9,000 points. Same seat, same flight, same everything. You're just saving 78,000 points. So that's sort of the overview of that. Let's look at a couple more examples, including, I guess, Sarah, do you want to go into this one? And I can zoom in.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So we've got an example for New Zealand, specifically from New York to Auckland, because I know a lot of people want to go, see Milford Sound, go hiking in the Southern Alps, which is totally worth it. You should do it. But to get there, you can do that using maybe fewer points than you might have thought. And the great thing, as Tiffany mentioned, is that we will show you that there are multiple ways, multiple different point currencies, different types of points that you can use to get to the same place. So yeah, on the left, we have an option that will get you same exact flight to Auckland for 42,000 points. And if you have a Bilt card, if you pay rent, you should get a Bilt card, number one. That's the point strategy side, me coming out. But number two, you might also have some, miles with American Airlines lying around.
Sorry.
You could transfer, your Bilt from Bilt to American. And then if you have 42,000, miles there, then you can book that flight. But we also show you there are other ways to get to Auckland. So let's say you don't, have any miles with American Airlines. So you have points with Chase, or you have points with thank you points with Citi. There are a ton of other ways to book that exact same flight, and we give you, all those options. And as Tiffany will show, also step-by-step instructions on how to book. But this is also a great way to reverse engineer, like which point, if you're thinking, okay, like I want to go to New Zealand, maybe I go on Point Me and I search New York to New Zealand. Now, what credit card do I need to get there? This is a great kind of first step if you're a year out from that trip, because you can see, okay, like maybe I don't pay rent, so I'm not going to get the Bilt card, but Chase looks like a really good option. And I've heard the Chase Sapphire Preferred has a 90,000 sign up bonus right now. So, you could totally do that. Get a Chase card, and there you have, you'll have more than enough points to get one economy ticket to New Zealand.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. And I think it's so important to talk about like the planning a year out, like you were saying. That's not always required, but it's super helpful when you're thinking about, okay, I want to use my points. I've never used them before, to sort of understand there's this direct relationship between the cost of a ticket and your flexibility. And I think this is it's such an important concept. If you are very flexible, you have a wide open schedule, maybe it's a year out and you're going to be able to plan anything around this trip that you're booking, you're going to be able to find things for a really low cost, small number of points, really great, flights, and it'll be a bargain. You'll love it. The obverse is also true, where at a certain price point, the airlines and the programs will accommodate any lack of flexibility you may have. And this is the same with concert tickets and everything else in life, right? Like when you have no wiggle room, you pay what you have to pay. So if you are someone who has kids who are in school and you can only travel during their school schedule along with everyone else in your country who has the same school schedule, you need to think about that when you're earning your points, because you're going to need a lot more points than somebody like Sarah who's traveling by themselves, either at a moment's notice or just without those restrictions. And then of course, everything along this line is also possible. So let's do another example there. Because I love this. I think for business class, people, when they hear that I fly somewhere business class, they're like, holy cow, like, how do you do that? Whose money? And a lot of it is that premium cabins can cost a lot less than you think. So again, I'll zoom in here. But going back to what we were talking about earlier with how you can use American Advantage miles to fly on Etihad in their business class, and it can be a really good price. Here is a flight. It actually would be if you could have left today. So you got to be the most flexible or the most advanced planning, but it's spring break. Lots of people are traveling right now. Going from Chicago to Abu Dhabi, what I know looks long, but I think is a perfectly timed layover in Abu Dhabi, because this is enough time to like go and see things and go to the Louvre if you want, and then come back and enjoy the amazing lounge and get on your plane and all of that. And all flight times into Muscat are terrible anyway, so you're not really missing out on anything. And then we have all the options for you here. So you can see if you have Advantage miles or can get Advantage miles, it's just 70,000 points. That's a wildly good deal. That does require a bit of flexibility. But even the less insanely good prices are still really good. You can use points from Chase, Bilt, Capital One membership rewards to transfer points to Aeroplan. And that's right in the ballpark of what these credit card sign-up bonuses are. And even barring all of that, you could even transfer points directly to Etihad. But you can see here, this is a great example of where the Delta happens. I hate using Delta when Delta is also an airline, but this is where you find the really lucrative things in travel hacking. Is you can go through the extra hoops to book something through Aeroplan or through Advantage, and the taxes and fees are going to be much lower, just like $60, $70. Versus if you book directly with Etihad, they also add on like some fuel surcharges. And so you'll pay hundreds of dollars in addition to, 40% more miles. So it can be really, really worthwhile. And I love using Point Me now that we've built this. I love using it to just go and see like, okay, if I want to go to Muscat, like how many points even is that? How many points do I need? Or I'm seeing this credit card bonus and everyone is freaking out over it being 90,000 points, but what does 90,000 points even get me? And I just feel like that's my favorite way to use points, because now like 90,000 points is enough to take you from Chicago to Muscat in business class and have points to spare. So I think it's really awesome. I just love the visual of these. Every time I'm looking for something, it's like, oh, that's right. I did remember that was a price that you could do. So now that you're really excited, I want to make sure that nobody gets scared by the complexity of it, because this is this is the best part of Point Me. We're aggregating all of these flights. We're showing you all of the options, but you're not purchasing the ticket through us, through the award ticket through us. It's still something where you have to interact with the airline loyalty program in order to book. And obviously, like, we're not logging into your American Express account for you to transfer your points. That would not be a good idea. So instead, we have step-by-step instructions, and they are very step-by-step. So going back to like Sarah's New York to Auckland example, we walk you through how to prepare your account, which might mean that you need to create an account with the loyalty program. We help you with transferring your points, and then we help you with actually going through to book the flight itself. And we have these customized for every single combination of credit cards, loyalty programs, and operating carriers. That's what it says on the outside of the plane, is the operating carrier. So that it's really foolproof for you, and it should be really easy. And I can zoom in on these a little bit for people as well. But here's an example of one of the steps. Like, this is the prepare step. And one of the things we might ask you to do is to go ahead and like create an account with Air France KLM's Flying Blue program. But we tell you exactly how to do it. This purple button here takes you to the exact page on the Flying Blue site where you would need to create the account. And this would be a video that would show you exactly how to do it and where to click. And then when it comes time to transfer your points, we do the same thing. We walk you right through. You're going to need a total of, in this case, this was the New Zealand example, 201,000 miles in Flying Blue. But there's a transfer bonus. So we do that math for you and tell you that you just need to transfer 161,000. And again, walk you right through it. We have a video right through it. So if there's a phone number that you have to call, and like, yes, sorry, fellow millennials, sometimes there is a phone number and you do actually have to call it in order to book some of these. I don't like it either. But we give that to you, which for me, like, this is really what makes Point Me perfect for everyone who's interested in traveling better. Whether you're somebody with 0 points all the way through like the experts with millions of points, because we make this so foolproof for you, and you don't have to have that intimidation factor of, can I book this? Like, when you're going through these booking instructions, it's like having Sarah and I right there with you as you're booking. And I think that's super empowering. Do you have anything you wanted to add, Sarah, as we're talking about these?
I think to emphasize the cost flexibility kind of graph, I think that really comes into play when you're searching as well. So of course, like, if you're, flexible on dates, I think that's what comes to mind for a lot of people. But also keep in mind that you can fly out of different airports potentially. I know that's not the case for everyone necessarily, but maybe you can fly out of, let's say, JFK. JFK has like all the flights, but you might live in the Midwest or the West Coast, but it might be pretty cheap. It might be worth it to get to a cash flight, say from to JFK, and then you still can get that really cheap points deal. So I think there's a lot of different ways to be flexible and to make this tool like your own and really get the best deals possible.
Yeah, that's a really awesome point, which I guess I'm so committed to it. For people who don't know or haven't seen me talk about this, I live in Eastern Washington State in Spokane, and there are no international flights from here, although we're very proud to have an international airport, because once upon a time we had a flight to Calgary, and we think fondly of those days. But currently we don't. And so if I'm traveling anywhere, I'm never searching out of Spokane. I just assume when I'm using miles that I'm going to have to buy my ticket to generally Seattle, but sometimes LA, we've got a direct flight to. Sometimes, Denver, Chicago, anywhere where we have a direct flight, I will look for points flights out of those much bigger airports, because the much bigger airports have many more bigger planes. It's one of those things that we all know. If you've been to an airport, you've noticed that. But then once we say it out loud, it's like, oh, that's right. So yeah, that's a really good example. And I think, again, it's something where we feel like Point Me lets people have that information to where you can look at it and say, like, okay, so I am looking for flights to Florence in Italy, and I'm just really not seeing anything. Let me look and see what there is to Rome. And then you're going to see it expand out and see that there's so much more possible, because there are just more flights to Rome than to Florence. And it's not realistic for everyone to be familiar with every airport and how many, options are available there. So that is one of the things that we really hope that people can do with Point Me, is to take that sort of curious, exploratory approach and, check things out and see what they can do and start learning the different things you can do with your miles and points. Oh, we're doing good on time. We'll have lots of time for questions. Perfect. So the last thing we want to talk about here, again, is getting access to Point Me, because this is, I think, a great tool, lots of creative ways to use it. And again, like, unlike online travel agencies, we're not processing the transactions for you. So we're not making a commission on the flights, whether you book an award ticket that is a lot of points or little points or whatever carrier, like, we don't work for them, we work for you. So we have a couple of different ways that you can subscribe to Point Me. Our standard plan, which you can do monthly billing, or you save 10% if you do annual billing, lets you do unlimited fair use searches, which is a really high number, but like, no, you can't go and like run a script. Lets you do lots of searches, lets you customize your results and do all those things. And this is a great option. I mean, probably for most of the people who are on this call, if you're this interested in travel hacking that you're going to give up, an hour of your day to learn about it, you'll probably get a lot of use out of having consistent, day-to-day access to Point Me. But then we have two other options as well. We have this $5 starter pass, which is perfect if you are just wanting to scope out a future trip, like you're not really sure you're committed, or you're like, I don't think that I need another subscription in my life, because a lot of us don't, like, Netflix is enough, right? We don't need one more subscription service. We've got that option. So you don't have to subscribe forever. You can just do a single starter pass and you get 24 hours of access, which is great for going in and doing that research session. And then we have our premium plan, which gives you everything in the standard plan, but it also gives you a personalized points strategy consult, generally with Sarah, to go through and talk about, okay, this is the trip you want to take. So in practice, in real life, what are the actual points that you're going to need for your trip? Do you want to talk about that a little bit more, Sarah?
Yeah, exactly. So you might be thinking like, okay, I have this trip coming up in, I don't know, 1 to 2 years, or like the timing, I don't even know the timing, but I just don't really know. Like, that's all I know. I just know I want to go to the Maldives or wherever it is you want to go. And then, so you reach out, you basically tell me a little bit about how you spend money, and like what you're looking to do. And then I come up with a plan based on your goals, based on your actual spending, to help get you, the miles that you need for that trip.
It's awesome. Like, it's something that when we first started doing, we were a little questionable about, like, well, people really want to do this, but so many people, it's a lot to read all the things there are to read. And I say that as somebody who has written literally tens of thousands of blog posts regarding earning and using miles and points, that there's just, I'm partly to blame. There's just too much information out there. So having that option to have that one-on-one consult is really nice. Fortunately for you all, though, you have another secret special option for how to have access to Point Me, just for you lovely people here at the Nomadic Network. So if you want a code to try Point Me for just $1 for the first month, rather than $12, so just $1, drop your email here. There's this link, and I assume, Sam, that you're sending this out as well with the video for people. Yeah. So you can drop your email here, and we'll send you all a code that you can use. And also you can get entered to win free passes as well. So there'll be some cool things going along with that. So I'll leave this here just for another second for people who like to immediately copy and paste or screenshot or whatever, although we will send that out for you. And then I think we'll jump right into questions. We wanted to save a lot of time for those. So.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much. I have like so many questions here, like a page of questions, I think, and I'm trying to like combine them all so that we can kind of like, someone asked Marisha just real quick. She said, where do you drop your email? I just dropped all of those links so you can enter in the last one, and I will add it again here, and I'll add it again at the last before I close off the presentation, so everyone can be entered to win that pass. But yeah, let's just jump right into questions. Thank you so much, both of you guys, for sharing all of that. And as I knew we would have like so many questions, so thank you that we have a ton of time, which is always like super helpful. So yeah, so I think a lot of people, there was a lot of questions about um, who like you guys sync with, like what credit cards that you could use, like if someone has Chase points or Amex points, like what main credit cards do you guys, and airline alliances, like I know you guys partner with like 100 airlines, but kind of the main ones, if you could go over like the main credit cards and airlines that you guys work with.
Yeah, so we support all the major US credit card programs, American Express, Citi, Chase, Capital One, both Bilt and Brex. Did I miss any?
I think you got it all.
Okay, I was like, for a minute, we were supporting Diners Club, and then I was like, okay, I'm not sure this is truly necessary. And we're always adding more. So we support all of the major US credit card programs, but through that, we support flights on over 150 different airlines through all the loyalty programs. So even if you don't have a US credit card, like if you're in the UK, we're not going to have the handy dandy little logo that says, I'm going to trying to scroll to my picture so I can zoom in and do this. So if you're in the UK, like you're not going to see the handy dandy little logo that's like, hey, transfer points from membership rewards UK. We don't have that yet. We will someday, but you can still take away that like, okay, but I know that with my UK card, I can transfer points to these other airlines. So you can still use it that way, really, no matter what financial market you're in. And we cover every alliance and every program. If you go to, when you're on Point Me, if you go to the bottom where it says our services, we have a list there of all of the different airlines we support, but it's all of them. If they have a loyalty program and they're in the US market, we try to be there, and we're continuing to add support for more foreign programs. For example, like we currently only show Gold Brazil flights when they're available to certain of their partners. We don't show their native program flights yet, but we hope to get there soon.
Cool. Is there somewhere where people can find that? Because now a lot of people are asking like specifically about all their loyalty programs. So instead of going through all of those, is there somewhere people can find?
And let me even see if I can pull it up here without. Yeah, so if you just, when you're on point.me, if you scroll down to the bottom on the footer where it says our services and pricing, that's going to cover probably a lot of these questions there.
Oh yeah, cool. I'll drop that link right now, and then
yeah, and you can toggle through there. Like we start by showing all the airlines, but you can also hit on the button for credit card rewards or see the specific loyalty programs themselves. And yeah, pretty broad support for most loyalty programs. And honestly, like some of these airlines, I mean, between our team, we've all flown all of these airlines, but that is not like a common experience with a lot of these carriers. I'm looking at some of these.
Yeah.
Not to, I don't know that.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot. Airline. So you kind of answered this already, because there's quite a few Canadians on the call. It sounds like a lot of people are asking if this works with Canada. So it sounds like you kind of already answered that a little bit. Like people can, as long as their credit card where they earn points can be transferred to these programs, it would work.
Yeah, exactly. And we will eventually have support, and we're trying to figure out how to do it, basically, of like, okay, would you toggle and be like, I'm in Canada, show me just the Canadian credit card programs. But yeah, we have this. Can I paste this in the chat? I can. Excellent. So we have this here. You can go, and there's our FAQ page where we talk about how to use your points through Point Me effectively if you don't have US credit cards or points yet. But there's so much overlap given all of the different services that we have and the different partners we partner with. That was really redundant.
Cool. Yeah. A lot of people were just asking about, like, if I know this is right now just for flights, but people are asking, like, will you ever have hotel points or other kind of things like car rentals or accommodation, or are you guys like, we're strictly focused on points with flights kind of thing? Or maybe that's far in the future. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. So it's interesting, again, like from my experience being in this space for so long, hotels, do a much better job of delivering on their brand promise where loyalty points are concerned than airlines do. Like if you want to use your Hilton points, you can just go to Hilton.com and you're going to use your points to stay at a building that has Hilton on the outside, or maybe like Conrad or Hampton or whatever, but it's still like fundamentally there. They frequently have award calendars, they show you how you can use the points. And most of them don't have blackout dates. So it's just like you can use the points at the various hotels. So there isn't as much of a need for a revolution in transparency with the hotels. It might be something that we get into in the future, but we just didn't feel like it was as much of the place to start with. That makes any sense.
Yeah, there's so much there.
So much there.
Yeah, there's so much there. A lot of people are asking, kind of like, there's been a bunch of questions on searching, like how to search in Point Me for, like, is there a fair calendar? Do you have to search for each date individually? Can you do like a flexible search on either end for, say, like a week that you could travel? I guess, could you talk a little bit more about the search functionality?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a great question, and one that we get a lot. So keep in mind with Point Me, we're an aggregator. So if you're on united.com and you press the search button, you are just searching what United has to offer. When you hit the purple search button on Point Me, we are going to, I think we're up to 38 different data sources and 150 different airlines. So it's a really big search, and it can take a bit of time. So for right now, you search one day at a time, and we will eventually make it possible to add searches like on either side, like give me plus or minus a day. But when we've tried doing like an award calendar, it's like, okay, well, there's 150 airlines and there's all these different programs, and it's just ends up being wall of text, and it takes the search a really long time to run. So right now, our focus is on making it really easy for people to quickly find, easy flights and compare their options. And then, yeah, you can search the next day or, the next week if you're somebody who can only travel on Wednesdays, and just go through it that way.
Yeah. And I like to tell people too, like, if you want to, master that art of flexibility or whatever, just pull up several tabs. I mean, I'm searching on our tool all day long, and I have like probably not like 12 tabs up, but several 3-4 tabs. And it might be, it could be this kind of combination. It could be JFK Madrid, September 13th, JFK Madrid, September 14th, but then it might be IAD, Washington, DC, Dulles, to Madrid, September 13th, Washington, DC to Madrid, September 14th. So I think you can really play around in that way, and make the tool work better for you. And if you have like several tabs open, it's still going to run at the same speed. Like you can run those searches simultaneously. So, yeah.
Would you guys be able to like run through a search live? There's a few people that were asking that they want to kind of see it in real time. I don't know if it's possible with the screen sharing.
Yeah, I think we can do that. Hang on, let me think about that. So do you want to do JFK Auckland again, or you want to do a Europe one? There was one that we did that was really fun, and then we took it out.
Oh, the SFO Taipei?
Yeah, do you remember SFO Taipei? What do you think?
It was September 19th, I think.
I love that you guys are also getting to see how fabulous Sarah Cash is in real time. Okay, hang on. I'm going to stop sharing, and then I will reshare.
I really hope the award availability is there, but that could be a good
one. It'll
lesson.
still be fun. It'll be a good example. So, okay. So basically you're going to search just the same way that we did before. Was that a business class flight?
It was business. Yeah.
So San Francisco to Taipei and September 19th. And, this is cut off on the screen share because I'm zoomed in, not because Point Me doesn't scroll. So yeah, this is going to search. And again, it works just like any other search tool that you've used on the internet for any flights. So we'll go through that. We do show you like how we're searching. We provide some pointers while you wait. And a lot of the things that we've talked about here tonight, it's great to have that, reiteration and just reminding them that like, these are all real-time flights. We're the only people out there who are searching real-time award availability across all these different carriers. So it's available right now. And like Sarah was just saying, like, oh, I hope it's still there. Like there were some really cool flights. They might not still be there. And as things start coming in, like you can scroll through and look at them, but you really want to wait to click and play until everything has come in. Because like you can see right now, we only have results from Flying Blue. Others take more time. As see, all of a sudden now there's more. So it's just better to like wait for them. But it's fun to see options. Like you can start to see like, okay, like here's this option with Singapore KrisFlyer and it's 178,000 points, which is like a lot of points. But given the pricing that we're seeing across the board to Asia right now, it's really great compared to like these prices with Aeroplan. So now you can see we just got like United flights dropped in. And how this works, this stream is everything just comes in real time and then we consolidate it. But what we do with this step is we basically let you see our work rather than like sitting here and having to play like the Chrome Tyrannosaurus jumping game or whatever. We just show our work. We're pulling in all of these flights on 150 carriers from, 30 some odd sources. And you can click on them in the meantime, but we tell you like, we're still searching. You've got to wait until we can move on.
And you'll know we're done searching because like so at the top, there's the little airplane with the purple trail. And so like that will go to its destination and the search will be done. And also there's this, like, if you see in the bottom left-hand corner, like searching 28 of 33. Yeah. And then and it's disappeared. So it's done. So search is done.
Yeah, perfect. So we default to show sorting by quickest flights. That's the industry standards. That's what we do. But there's lots of other filters. You can filter by all these different airlines or different stops or different times, or you only want to look for card programs. We're not going to get into this tonight, but if you've synced your loyalty programs with a Ward wallet, you can connect that to Point Me as well. And then you could filter it and it would just show you things you've already signed up for. But I think it's better to explore and see the whole thing, honestly. And then we also have our Point Me picks, which is really great. And that's the one where we factor in like the prices and the connection time and the value of your points. So here's this one on China Airlines. They have a great business class product. It's a beautiful lie flat seat, really fun amenity kits, and like all the things that people like about business class, and fantastic lounges in Taipei, like top shelf lounges. So, and it's a really great flight, nonstop from San Francisco. And our Point Me pick here is transferring your Chase Ultimate Rewards points to Flying Blue, which is the loyalty program of Air France and KLM, because there's a special offer right now. There's a 25% transfer bonus. So you can see the other options that are available too, as we were walking through, in the previous examples, that you can transfer other points if you don't have Chase points. You can still transfer to Flying Blue. It's still a good price. You could also transfer, or if you have some Qantas frequent flyer points from whatever previous adventures, maybe adding to those makes more sense for you. And then we even show things when they're like not a good price, like Delta Sky Miles is 340,000 points for this. Like, please don't do that. But it's here, so you know that. And then we've got the retail price here too with Skyscanner. And then when you go ahead and select, this is what we were showing you before, where we have your options here. You've got your summary. So it's easy. You can take a quick snapshot of this to send it to your travel people and be like, hey, is this what we're going to do? Great. And then you can go through and say, I want to book my flight. And it's, again, very step-by-step. First, this is what you're going to do your first step. This is, you're going to go in onto Flying Blue and you're going to check. This is exactly what you're checking. And we have this broken out because one of the things that can happen, it's all real time, right? So we want to make sure that you're comfortable navigating the Air France website, that you know exactly where to go, exactly where to click to book, that you've got that down before you transfer your points. Because once you've transferred your points, you want to book immediately. And that's not the time to be figuring out how the website works. So you want to do all of that ahead of time. Again, we're trying to set you up for success here. So we do all of that. We have all these screenshots and these animations. So you can see, here's the flight, make sure it matches what we have. If you can't see it, please call. Here's the phone number for Flying Blue. And there are some cases where we'll just tell you directly, you're not going to see this on the website for the program. You do need to call, but here's the number. So we try and take care of that for you as well. And then again, we know we're doing a transfer from Chase. So we walk you through, here's where you're going to go. Here's exactly how you're going to scroll. and just really go step by step by step. And this is all customized based off of what you selected, here for your flights. You're getting a very specific set of instructions. In this case, it's going to be 71,000 chase points. And we tell you that you're transferring 71,000 chase points because you're going to need 88,500 flying blue points. If you already have some flying blue points and we don't know that, then you'd have to do that math. And then again, here's how you book it. Here's the exact steps and all the way through. And then when you're done, you say, I booked this flight, and then you can add your confirmation number and keep track of it. So it's pretty, I think it's pretty.
I'm just going to reiterate one point because I see it all the time and it makes me cry a little bit, which is not cry, but do not transfer your points or miles don't transfer your credit card points to an airline before you've made sure that the ticket exists, that there is availability, with whatever airline you're booking on. Because once my Chase Ultimate Reward points become flying blue miles, they can no longer be with Chase. And that's sad because Chase Ultimate Reward points are worth a lot more than flying blue miles. So do not transfer before you've made sure of the availability. Please.
Yeah. And that's one of the things, like, we do everything we can. Like, we're checking real time. That's why we all had to wait for the search to complete. We're checking real time. But in the time that we've been having this conversation, there's only so many seats on an A350. So someone else could have booked them, or, things could have happened. You never know. So it's just always best to check immediately. And most of these transfers from the credit cards now are instant. It's so much better than it used to be when you used to be transferring like Starwood points to Japan Airlines. And there was literally a lady at Japan Airlines on Tuesdays who would go in and manually type in the points transfers. And if she didn't get to you on that Tuesday, she didn't do it again. She only did it every other Tuesday. I know Sam is dying. I'm like, no joke. This is not an exaggeration. This is actually how it legitimately works between these two huge corporations. But now most of the time it's instant in real time. So it's fine. So it's just always best to just check in the moments before you're booking. Or in the case with Air France, you can also call them and they'll put the flights on hold for you for 24 hours, which is great. Calling Air France isn't great. They've got really long hold times sometimes, but.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much for showing that. I know now people are seeing it. They're having a lot more questions about stuff. A few people asked.
Yeah, I love the poor person who was like, I think showing a live example will answer the questions. They're like, I think you guys are about to have your minds blown and there's going to be a whole new set. But let's try it.
Right?
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. It's always good to see things in real time. Then you can see how it works. I know some people are like, oh, wow, this is really awesome. A couple of people asked if it's free to transfer points or if there's a cost associated with that.
This is a really
it's up.
So, go ahead, Sarah.
Sorry about that, Tiffany. I was just gonna say, it's to transfer, if I want to transfer from a credit card issuer like Chase, like Citi, Capital One, American Express, it is not going to cost me anything to transfer to all those airlines that are their partners. Now, if I'm wanting to combine points with a family member or something like that, that's a totally different thing. That's a different story. But in terms of transferring your credit card points to airlines, it doesn't cost any money.
There's one exception, because there's always an exception.
Sorry.
This is the rule of travel hacking and miles and points. The one exception is if you are transferring American Express membership rewards points to Delta Sky Miles, they charge you a usage fee. And it's it can be as $99. It's some kind of excise tax that American Express would otherwise have to pay directly. And I don't know why it's only. Is it also Hawaiian and JetBlue as other US
I think it's US carriers. It is.
Okay, I don't know why you would transfer your American Express points to JetBlue anyway, but so if you're transferred to Delta or Hawaiian, that would be the exception.
It happened to me recently and I was like, what is happening?
Yeah.
So, all right, cool. So a few people asked about when would you start these searches? How, someone just asked it again, how far in advance would you start looking for an award flight?
Yeah, I mean, I think as far out as possible, right? So we're going to support, actually, I should let maybe Tiffany get to that point, but I will say also too that like airlines differ in when they release award availability, but in general, you should start searching, as soon as possible, for your flight. And our site, Tiffany, will show you up to, you'll know the exact.
We do the same windows as the airline support. So if there's an airline that lets you look at 364 days out, we'll show results for that carrier at 364. For those that are 330, we'll show you 330. Yeah, I think as soon as you've thought about taking a trip is a good time to start looking, because sort of the worst case is that you find out that you already have the points that you need. Right? Like that's the worst case. The best case is you're like, oh, wow, I didn't even know that you could use like these points for that. I'm going to get a few more of those and it's going to inform some other choices. Or if you have a purchase you're about to make, maybe you change what credit card you're putting it on just so you have that extra little bump of points. I will say that pre-COVID, we would say that the best time to book award flights, if you want like business class, direct, groups of 4, like the hard stuff, was 10 months prior to departure or 10 days prior to departure. But post, since the beginning of COVID, we don't see that extra inventory within 10 days anymore. And the reason for that is airline award inventory is tied to flight inventory and revenue management. At the end of the day, the airline wants every single seat to go out with a paying passenger who paid as much as they were possibly willing to pay to be in that seat, whether it's in points or money. But with all the pandemic related disruptions and the fact that right now there's a like double-digit % chance that at least one flight attendant or pilot is going to be out with COVID, the airlines are having to hold back seats because if that Chicago to Newark flight gets canceled, now we have 200 passengers that we need to find somewhere to fly. So we're not seeing that inventory in the 10-day window anymore. So I would just double down on what Cash had said, which is think early, book early. And you can always cancel it. Like that's the thing that's amazing with award tickets. The cancellation fees are just fractions of, or if they're anything, like in some cases you can make the changes for free, as long as the availability is still there, and for others, it's like a really mild fee, or Sarah's favorite program of Flying Blue, like you can just cancel or redeposit the miles and it's like $50. So it's not
honestly, that's what
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to keep rambling.
No, I was going to say, that's what I love. And I think it's a really people don't think enough about that advantage of booking with points, because you can change your flight. Like I changed the flight just because I wanted to stay a couple days longer and I didn't pay anything for it. Like that's the awesome thing about booking with points and miles that is like even better. And so, a couple of people were asking about cancellations. So you kind of already covered that in that, like a lot of times you can just change it, or the points people were asking what happens to the points, but they'll just like go back into your account.
Yeah, they'll go into whatever account for the loyalty program. And the thing is, like, what about cancellations? The cancellation rules are going to be different for every single program. So, and that's one of the things that people can get caught up on. So it's like, if you're booking a ticket, we did that example of flying Etihad using American Advantage miles. It's going to say Etihad on the outside of the plane. You're going to go to the Great Lounge in Abu Dhabi. Maybe there'll be a Falcon in there, which is always fun for me. That's people that get to bring their Falcons into the lounge. But you booked your ticket in that case through American Airlines Advantage. So you'll follow their rules, their change policies, their cancellation fees. That's who you'll call for any issues regarding your ticket that might come up, or if you need to change it. So it's one of those, like, what does it cost to cancel? It's like, well, how long is a piece of string? Because there's like 40 different possible variations of what the policies could be.
Yeah. That kind of like ties into another question a few people had, which was like, how do you figure out, how best to take advantage of these airline alliances? Do people have to just know which ones are partnered? Do you have like somewhere that's shown or anything like that? People were asking about.
I mean, that is literally like sort of the point with Point Me. You don't have to know. Like, you don't have to know. We know for you. So we go through and we factor all of that in. And, we had this example here where we're flying, you're flying on Etihad, right? You're flying on Etihad, but we're telling you that you should book through American Advantage. You don't need to know anything about the relationship with Etihad and Advantage. You don't need to know that it's been contentious. You don't need to know like the back drama of like for several years where they were blocking people in the US from like redeeming flights. You don't need to know. We got you. It's right here. You can learn more. There's many, tens of thousands of blog posts on 1 mile at a time with like charts and all of the things. But again, the whole purpose of Point Me is to not have to, you can if you want to, is not have to learn all of this, because this way is hard. It takes a lot of your brain.
Yeah. And I think too, one of my favorite things about like having been with Point Me and just with my journey in Points and Miles is that like you will learn as you go, and you can learn with Point Me, right? Like you'll start seeing like, oh, like these China Airlines flights, it always says flying blue, and I'm like using flying blue miles, but I'm actually flying on KLM. So you'll actually start to pick up some of those like lessons or tricks of the trade that you would learn from going on YouTube, following influencers on Instagram, reading blog posts, all the other ways that you can definitely learn more about Points and Miles, which we also fully recommend doing.
If you want to take up like cross stitch instead, also a great hobby. No judgment. We're saving you time so that you can do either.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, a few people had questions, and I know it's like we're already over. So like this is going to be the last kind of like question block, and then I'll just to keep everyone on time. And Sarah, you can get to bed.
Right. It's the pros and cons of working for a company, right? Where it's like, hey, we are a fully distributed team. You can work from anywhere, including Namibia at 3 a.m. Sorry.
Love it.
Totally. So yeah, could you guys talk a little bit again? People were asking like, also if you could share, people were asking about the $1 trial, I think that you guys mentioned. I have the link to enter for the free passes, but they were wondering how to get the $1 trial.
Yeah, same place. Just drop your email here and then we'll send it to you.
Perfect. Okay, cool. And then like, I think people were trying to figure out, is it better just to get a one-off or a subscription or just pay for each time you want to use it? I mean, my personal opinion on that is the subscription is like then because like you're going to be running so many searches. I can't imagine paying $12 every time, So that's my like me. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, the reason why we have options is because we like have been around long enough to know that people need options. Right. And I think that there are some people where like you're not quite ready and you don't really know, and you're feeling pretty uncertain about things. And so like just the $5 one-off, or just like, okay, I only take one of my nieces works at a school. So she doesn't travel 12 times a year. She travels like twice, generally like one summer trip that's longer. So for her, like the starter pass is great because she could think about like, okay, what am I going to do? Let me check, see what the prices are. Do I get my points in my life together? And then when I'm ready to come back, I'll do another starter pass and I'll get everything booked. And so she's spending like $10 over the course of a year because she's very organized, and you can do that when you're very organized. If you're like me and you are not that kind of organized, then just being able to have access all the time, whether you want to do monthly billing and see how it goes, or take advantage of the annual billing and get a discount on it, is a great option. And then if you're somebody where you're like, I want a friend to help me with this. It's not like this is the plan where you get to be besties with Sarah, but it's also the plan where you get to be besties with Sarah, because you're getting to do like the strategy console, and then you're getting starter passes that you can give to your friends who are starting to like, as you're doing this and you're doing these really incredible things with your points and miles, like, wait, how'd you do that? Then you have that option too.
Awesome. So that kind of
answers
someone else's question. Yeah, someone else was asking how you can speak to people. So I guess that would be that premium option, and they can be Sarah's bestie.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like Sarah's bestie forever. I wanted to, sorry, so like kept me up till 3 a.m. and now
There's
you're
like,
making
I
new
still
friends
have
for
one
me.
bestie.
Um, yeah, but like, so we do like this more structured strategy consult just to help you be like, here's how you can go. The whole like, oh, I have this trip that I want to take. I mean, quite frankly, like we've designed the self-serve tool. It's going to pull up all the deals for you and a lot of the things you can do. We do have a concierge plan, but I think if you're the kind of person that's going to devote an hour out of your week to know more about miles and points, you are the kind of person who is honestly best served by the self-serve tool and by the clicking and the looking at what your options are and learning how to do that. Like you're going to get so much value out of that over the course of months and years that I would really recommend that.
Yeah, because it just aggregates everything in one place. Otherwise, you'd have to go to in each of these individual sites and look. I mean, it's been for me personally such a game changer. And it is, like you said, it's so fun to look. I'm like, oh, I need to go here. Let me look on Point Me. Like,
Yeah.
let me see what I need to do.
Yeah.
But I'm a total nerd. So yeah.
The time saving is a huge thing. Like we actually timed Jordan, one of our colleagues who works with us, who, you know, he's been working with me for like a decade, helping people redeem miles and points. Like he's fast. And so it's like, okay, starting from scratch, open your browser tab, enter your search on Point Me, and then like do the search by hand. And even with like waiting for Point Me to go and check all the different things, it's still way faster than opening up 35 browser tabs and entering in all those searches and like logging in. And I've got a 2FA into this one. Like, just don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just let us help you.
Yeah, let us let you guys help. Oh, someone was asking about an app, but I believe you're so far just a website, right?
Yeah, we have a mobile site. We have a mobile site, but right now, not an app. It's
That's what I thought.
complicated.
Oh yeah.
Not even
I
just
have
app
no doubt.
development, but like because of all the things that we do and like all the things that you would need to do with an app, it's yeah. And then like Apple takes a lot of your money if you're transacting on an app. So, and we're still little.
I will say though, like I use Point Me on my phone and like I enjoy that user experience. So
yeah, I do too. And I saved the bookmark, you know, as an app, like, you know, how you can do it. You can pin that to your desktop. So it's basically like an app.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Yeah. Okay, awesome. I think that actually kind of answers all the questions and we're like way over time. So if anyone has other questions, like definitely feel free to reach out to them. I'm sure they'll take care of you and answer any questions that you have. I'm gonna drop
and I pasted the FAQ link in the chat as well. I would start with that because I am very confident that almost every question that people probably have, you can probably find an answer right there rather than waiting for us to respond. So start with that. And then if you have more questions, we've got links in there of how you can get in touch with our customer success team and they can help you further for sure.
Perfect. Cool. Okay, yeah, let me just do a little few closing announcements. I mean, just wanted to let you guys know about some of our upcoming events that we have. In a few days, we have one on travel insurance, which is another question that people is always on people's minds. I know even in this, we've had a few people ask about cancellations. Everything is changing so much, and it's really good to be aware of it. I mean, in the hostel I'm in right now in Costa Rica, there's a couple here, their flight was canceled and they have to stay a whole extra week because that's the next time they could be booked. And I was like, travel insurance, always get it. So if you're interested, we have an event on travel insurance on April 11th. So you can go and check out all of our events at thenomadicnetwork.com/events. So we have that coming up. We have one on keys to building your dream lifestyle. And then we have another one that I know is going to be huge as well, which is on house sitting around the world. And it's with trusted house sitters. I personally use them to house sit around the world for about 5 years. And it's going to be an awesome event. And I'm really bummed I won't be there, but I will be on our Costa Rica tour, so I can't complain too much, which brings me to remind you guys that we have our group tours. We have a lot going on right now. We're doing like spring and fall tours because summer is crazy for travel, high season. We want to get you guys places where it's not too crazy. So we have our upcoming trips in the spring. You can check that out at thenomadicnetwork.com/tours. The Trusted House Tours event, someone's asking, it's April 20th. So let me just leave a link in the chat to the events where you can like find where these events are happening. So, and then I will leave a link also to where our group tours are going as well. So yes, so those are our events, and these are our tours. And then let me leave a link just in case anyone missed that, to sign up for the free pass, to win a free pass for Point Me. Those are all there. So those are all the links. And yeah, I think that's about it. Thank you so much again for Tiffany and Sarah for sharing all of your knowledge. I'm like about to start looking up flights right after this because I love looking for flights, and I do have some flights to book actually. But
Where are
when
you
do I
going?
not?
I mean, maybe.
No, well, this summer I'm actually, you mentioned a few times, Sarah, Madrid. I used to live in Madrid and I haven't been back since I used to live there. So I'm going to Madrid and visit some friends in Paris and London. So that's definitely summer travel. I'm so glad I'm going to be booking with points, because otherwise the cash price is like $1,500. So I'm going to be searching. But yeah, how do you receive the trial code? So everyone, a lot of people have questions about that. So if you enter in your email, they're going to send out an email in the link that I shared. They're going to send out an email with the free, with the $1 trial, and then you'll be entered to win a free pass. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great. So I have so many questions that I just wanted to like clear that up.
Yeah, no, and I was
So,
just
yeah,
like quickly scrolling through the questions too, and to be like,
yeah. So just drop your link in there, and then you'll get everything. And you will also get this recording in a few days. Stay tuned for that from Leah, who's our admin person. So she'll clean up this recording and then send it out to you in a few days. So just be patient and you'll get all those emails. Okay, great. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming and sharing your time with us. Thanks again to Tiffany and Sarah. And with that, I'll leave you guys. Have a great evening, morning, night, wherever you are.
all right, awesome. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.